Every time I think, wow, they're going to be heading for the Elven Kingdom right now, they end up going through another change, another ordeal. Hello, everybody. It has been a long time, and it feels like even longer to me. I think we've been gone 4 weeks, but it feels like 4 years to us. I haven't cracked Berserk in that long, and I missed it so bad. I told Crystal that we just had to get back into the book, and here we are. You may hear some off sounds coming from our studio right now. It's because we haven't found a house yet. As a result, we don't have a fixed studio to work from, so you may hear some pounding on walls, honking of horns. Who all knows what you'll hear? But bear with us, please, because we want to get back into Berserk. So we'll start with a little recap on where we left off. Where we left off was our gang had made it through a horrendous ordeal at Enoch Village. You know, the castle is virtually collapsed. The village is in absolute distress. And the people, however, are really quite grateful to our friends because they seem to have rid the town of those trolls at great cost to the villagers and great growth to our friends. And what I want to talk about now is that growth. And why don't we start with Farnese, who I used to call Furnace. And I'm back to calling her Farnese because, frankly, she has changed dramatically.
Got him. We fucking got him.
Now, why has she changed? Well, I think it's fair to say she changed because she got away from that environment that she was in, which goes to show how important environment is for either good or evil. She was in what was arguably a safe environment for her back in her church days, but it was a horrible place for her to be because she developed into a horrible person. But she is not that anymore. I hinted at that transformation going on in the last video, and I was reluctant to admit it, but it is true and it's not phony. And so why has she transformed? Well, I think it's going to be fair to say that she's transformed because she has seen the light, if you will. She's seen how the other side lived and how she persecuted that other side. A little bit of St. Paul in her before he was St. Paul, more of Saul of Tarsus. And so she has transformed. She is not the same person. It has taken her quite some time to realize it because every time she would on her own come to the discovery that she has changed, she would, if you will, fight against her own beliefs and say, no, I haven't really changed. I'm still doing it all for me. But we, the readers, realize that no, she's different. She actually cares about people. The very people who she would have persecuted in an earlier life, she is now greatly concerned about. And it shows. It shows so well that Guts came alongside her and in essence thanked her for what she had done for Casca over the course of, who knows, weeks or months, whatever it has been. Guts comes alongside her and says, thank you, in essence. You have made the difference. And at first it was hard for her to admit it, but she came to the realization, I think it's fair to say, that Guts was right, that she is not that person anymore. And she could look back on what she had gone through and realize that he was right. She does, in fact, care. And the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Casca is still alive. And she has been Casca's defender. She has been Casca's protector. And without her, I think Casca would be no mas. So, have there been other people who transformed? Why, yes. And I want to tie it all together at the end, but right now, I want to talk about Guts. Now, Guts has been changing since book 2, let's say. He has been changing for the better. He's gone from an uncaring mercenary who would do anything for maybe profit or even as simple as good training. He's not that guy anymore either. And the more we see Guts, the more we realize that he is a man now of great compassion. How do we know that? Well, he didn't kick Koska to the side months ago. He didn't kick anyone to the side months ago, which he probably in his early days would have said, I don't need these people, they're a burden to me. In fact, regarding Shyster Boy, that's pretty much exactly what he said. I don't care if you follow me or don't. You're just a burden to me. Do what you want to do. Well, Shyster Boy followed him, and Shyster Boy got to see the transformation that's gone on with our friend Guts, and he is our friend. So why? Well, the why is that he also has seen the other side, so to speak. Not only what he has gone through with Koska, but he's seen what the people have gone through. And he has always been a stand-up guy. And he's still got a lot of the old Guts mannerisms in him. For example, you guys stand back and let me fight these 5,000 people, or 5,000 ghouls, or 5,000 trolls, whatever it is. But now he's more thoughtful about it. And he does it not for a training exercise, but because he cares about the people he's with. So Guts is not the same guy we originally knew. Now, what about Shyster Boy? He's changed too, dramatically. Remember, we find him stealing food, tricking people. That's why he earned his name Shyster Boy, which, by the way, he's still got enough of that in him to warrant the name. And so Shyster Boy has changed. He's gone from being a follower of Guts for, I think it's fair to say, two reasons. One, Guts would be a protector, and two, he wants to be like Guts. But he's had to let go of some of the Shysterism. We saw it in the past. We've always seen that he's right there to help with Koska and Farnese, for that matter, too. But even in his own mind, he was there because he was expecting some payback from Guts. Well, I think he's left that notion a little bit behind. And when he talked about the payback from Guts, I think it also fair to say that what he wanted from Guts is the training to become Guts. He's realized now, though, that he's a little kid, and he's not going to swing a massive sword. Some of you guys said that sword is like 200, 300, 400 pounds in a previous video. I stand corrected. It's a huge, huge, huge sword. And so Shyster Boy is not up to that challenge. If he wanted to, he could get a giant sword, but all we've really seen him get are swords more consistent with his own size. But he has changed. He not only protects Koska, and to a certain degree Farnese, because he wants something from Guts. He does it because he wants to help them. He cares about them. And should Guts reward him in some way, he'll be happy with that too. But I think he would do what he's been doing lately, regardless of rewards. The reward is itself doing the good work. That's that's real growth. Now, what about Sir Lancelot? He has become so effective with that sword that he got from the lovely old witch of the forest, the good witch of the forest, that I think his name has to be changed from Sir Lancelot to Sir Lotta-Lance, because he wields that sword with such expertise that he is no rival for Guts, but there's no rival for him either. That's a fair statement. Nobody's dispatching the bad guys and the bad ghouls and the bad trolls more than he is. And so he started out only looking after Farnese, and now he's looking after entire villages. He's helping out in just tremendous ways. So that's really fantastic. Now, what about the little witch, Mon Sherí? Mon Sherí, she is very, very different as well. And she's different because who she was when she left the forest and left the apprenticeship, if you will, of the good witch of the forest, she became the witch. And she started out, as you would expect any apprentice to start out, with a whole bunch of doubts, in spite of her abilities. But those abilities have been monumental. And the awe and respect that she's received, not only from the people, but from Guts, has been enough I think, finally, to convince her that she is herself a powerful, good witch, taught by the goodest of good witches, the good witch of the forest. And this has changed her also dramatically. Doesn't have all of the self-doubts that she had before, has taken on the challenge of protecting everybody. And there's no denying that she has. She has protected everyone with her magic spells. That's pretty awesome. So what's the common denominator with all that we've talked about now, the big changes that have gone on? Well, it's really quite simple, and most of you have already figured it out. It's because they've been, as a group, through the Valley of the Shadow of Death. And the Valley of the Shadow of Death is something that everybody encounters. Some do not walk through it, though. That's the truth. And these young folks have had to walk through numerous valleys of the shadow of death and come out on the other end. And what I wanted to say, not to get overly philosophical here, but I wanted to say that real growth in persons and their personalities and just their humanity is oftener than not a result of trials and tribulation. Because if life is so good that you're just sitting in a big grassy field chewing on daisies, the truth is you're probably not growing. But if you're going through the Valley of the Shadow of Death and you get to the other side and you do it with friends in this case, and they've grown and you've grown, well, you can't help but be a different person at the end of that. So I'm looking forward very much to what is going to happen next, because every time I think, wow, they're going to be heading for the Elven Kingdom right now, they end up going through another change, another ordeal. They just escaped this huge ordeal being in, there's a name for it, I've forgotten the name, but being basically in the grotto of the ghouls, the grotto of the trolls. And they barely got out alive. It's fair to say that without the help of the good witch, without the help of that sword of guts, without the help of Farnese taking the stress off of Guts as it concerns Casca, without the help of Shyster Boy bringing up the rear and making sure the ghouls didn't catch up to the party, and without the help of Skull Boy, I don't think our friends would have gotten through, because ultimately Guts and Skull Boy had to make it past Little Witch's spell that kept back the ghouls as they escaped. So many things have happened. One other thing I want to point out, we've been suspicious of Skull Boy. At first I thought, who is this dude? Is he a good guy or is he a bad guy? Well, quite frankly, I'm convinced now that he is a very, very good guy.
It's about damn time. It's about damn time.
In fact, nothing could convince me that he isn't that good king from 1,000 years ago. What was his name?
King Gesserit.
King Gesserit. I think he's King Gesserit, and he still likes wearing his old crown.
Also, something to point out that we had talked about, and maybe I'll just keep this in. We talked about the 5th God Hand.
Yes.
And you were saying maybe it was supposed to be King Gesserit. Like maybe it was supposed to be him and he didn't want it.
Yeah.
That's why they gave it to Griff. Because how long has that seat been empty? Could have been from 1,000 years ago when he denied it.
Yes.
And then they were waiting for Griffith to come. So
I suspect we're going to get an answer about that. I want to say that my opinion of the God Hand is that they are the evil God Hand. I see no good from any of them, not the least of which is he who must not be named. And so, in fact, in this last adventure, the she-devil herself comes up. What's her name again?
Slan?
Slan, yeah. Yeah, she looks like she's out of the salon. Her hair was kind of atrocious at the time. But
she's trying to recruit Guts to the dark side.
I think so,
which
too.
kind of answers our questions of why they haven't killed Guts.
It's interesting, too, because notice that the 5 God Hand positions are filled. And so who wants him back more than anyone?
Griffith.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. And what position would Guts be in if he went back? 2nd. No way he wants that. He's already had enough of you-know-who. and wants no more of him. And his hatred of the evil God Hand is such that he still has a goal to dispatch every single one of them. Now, he's dealing with Salon woman.
Slan.
Yeah, Salon.
Or maybe it's Slain, but I call her Slan because
Yeah.
it's S-L-A-N.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let us know what you guys
Yeah,
call her.
what you think. Because she's evil right down to her highly fashionable toenails, I'm sure.
Please.
And she doesn't want to kill Guts either. She wants to, in her own sick, demented, evil way, to embrace him and the, if you will, the passionate hatred he has. She wants to somehow absorb that into her person, making her even worse than she is. Guts wants nothing to do with her, although he cannot resist putting the sword through her, which is exactly what she wanted. Now, there's more to learn about that. We just don't know, because we know she didn't die, but she took the sword through her, and as she put it through her uterus, it was really way too high for her uterus, but we're not going to get on the artist for that.
We'll let it slide.
We'll let it slide. But there's probably more to that story, but we're not going to know the more of the story until we see her again. And let's hope we don't see much of her, because she is pure D evil. So we are excited to get back to Berserk and look forward to more of these. Now we're kind of getting settled. Like I said earlier, we don't have a place to live just yet. But we will have one soon, and then we'll have our studio set up and hopefully produce a whole bunch more videos for what we hope is your enjoyment. In the meantime, like, follow, subscribe, you name it. We want to hear from you, especially. So keep those comments coming. Goodbye.